Welcome to Idea Tennis, where we challenge ideas, elevate thinking, and serve up conversation that make you question everything.
It's recognizing that I'm a beautiful masterpiece made of broken pieces, that I am one lesson and one blessing away from a completely different day, week, month, life. To me, being able to ask for help is the ultimate act of bravery and courage. Recognizing that it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to ask for help until you get it. Get to the places you want to be. To get into the rooms where you did not receive the invitation, but you know you belong, that there's a seat in there waiting for you. To get to the places that felt almost like they were so out of reach and impossible to arrive at. You need to have a certain level of pushing. You have one choice, one decision, one action, 1 second, 1 minute away from a completely different life. But you have to believe it, and you have to choose you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon. No, it's 1 minute after.
Yes, 1 minute after. I am for real almost caught up.
You never gonna catch up, Jess.
I know.
Life would never let you catch up. It's gonna be like, oh, we're gonna find a reason to set you back 1 mile.
And not only that, but there's always like more stuff that gets added to the plate. It's just, and then this time of year, because I try to do all the things, all the business things and all the family things, it's like, woohoo. Yes.
Yeah. Every time something new drop on your plate, it's a reminder that your plate has room.
Yes,
Universe
and I'm grateful. I'm grateful. You know, I think in the midst of the process, there are times where we get overwhelmed and forget that we should be giving thanks instead of feeling overwhelmed for the things that we once prayed for have now become our new realities. And expressing that gratitude and leaning into, I once dreamt of this and now this is my life, changes the perception of all of it. It now feels less overwhelming because you reminded yourself that I always wanted days like this. And then learning how to navigate those days is what becomes your new norm.
Check this out. Imagine it like this. You've placed all this order. Say Amazon is God. So Amazon is God. And you place all this order. And for some reason, they all got delivered the same thing. Like, oh my God, all this stuff, I don't know. I can't, I gotta get figure out where to put them. And you like feel like you're overwhelmed. But then you realize that I just got delivered a bunch of gifts. I just don't know where to put them yet. So you gotta thank Amazon. Hey, I know you're supposed to deliver these in different days, but you deliver all of them in one day, and I feel like you just crushed me with all this stuff. I gotta find a way to put them. I don't even have enough space in my house. I gotta go get storage. I gotta go find somebody to store them for me until I figure out where to put them. But that's what life is. Something you gotta be grateful.
Yeah.
The universe just showered you with all your gifts at one time. That's overwhelm. That's the reframe.
Yes. I have been very, very emotional these days in a good way.
And wait, I see a Christmas tree in the back. Wait.
Asher, the Christmas tree was there last episode.
I don't remember seeing it, but okay, keep going.
So that Christmas tree actually, let's see, that Christmas tree actually was a project, like a 4-year project for me to have the tree filled with ornaments that were Puerto Rican themed ornaments or ornaments that were created by Puerto Rican artisans. So this year, the tree finally made 100% only Puerto Rican ornaments on that tree. So that was a labor of love. I was grateful for the hunt and the search for the ornaments. But
get back to your emotional story.
Yes,
I want to hear it.
I've been sharing with a lot of people this new book we just launched.
No, that's not what you're about to
Mindset
say. You're about to
Challenge.
say something about emotional.
I am. And I've led with other people's stories, which then have prompted the people I've been talking to ask me, what did I write about? And I said, probably one of the most transformational times of my life, because obviously being a mom at 17 was a transformational moment in my life. And really, other than that, this was the season of my life that has changed my entire life. And the last 15 years has really been defined by the story that I share in the book. And so it's been emotional to think of how far I've come, to think of what that time was like in my life, and to recognize that so many other people have those transformational seasons, but get so caught up in what the reality is that they are almost blinded to the possibility.
I feel like this conversation without planning was a setup universally, because I was thinking on this same framework, like this morning, yesterday, a little bit. But when we think about, like, if you think about all the genius in life, most of the most genius that have created something, some kind of theory, like, it didn't happen through a framework. It happened randomly. It just happened to them. And then they got to figure out, this thing that happened to me, how do I communicate with somebody else? Because communication requires a framework to transfer the story to somebody else. But getting the idea doesn't require a framework. It just happens to you randomly. So when life crashes at you, like, where this thing happened, that's how ideas come to you. It doesn't come to you like step 1, step 2, step 3. That's no idea comes. Idea comes, just show up. It just show up and you got to reverse engineer it. But now the challenge, like you were talking about, the challenge is how do I take story as a transportation system to take what I know and transfer it to Jessica? And that's what stories, it's a transportation system. But if you don't know to frame it right, then you would never get delivered. That's why we talk about Amazon right now. Right? We need a way to take the idea that just showed up randomly or popped up in our head that was genius, that was like, oh my God, this is it. But now how do I get Jess to see it? I need a transportation system for it. I need a framework. And that's what storytelling is. A framework, a transportation system to get my idea from my heart or from my head to your head or your heart. And that's what people struggle with. But they got ideas. They got experience like you did.
Selfishly, I believe that a lot of people do not see the value of sharing their stories with other people, because we've all lived a life, right? Every single person has a story. Every single person has something about them. And it doesn't have to be transformational in the sense of my story was of an extraordinary medical incident, or Vanessa, the Rocky Balboa of our co-author group, or even Joshua.
He pause. And oftentimes, because they don't know how to share it, that's why they don't see the value.
Yeah.
If you know to share it.
That was the question that I actually wrote down that I'd love to go back and forth with you about, which is how do you help people turn problems into possibilities? And not just with storytelling in general. How do you help people turn problems into possibilities? Obviously, the mindset has to be in that equation, but beyond the mindset, how do you help someone overcome?
So I'm gonna go back to Miles Monroe. I'm gonna go to Dan Sullivan. So Miles Monroe says, any problem that pisses you off, frustrates you, make you mad, you was born to solve. Then Dan Sullivan says, the obstacles are the problem or the raw material, right, to achieving the outcome. So then you're going after something, but the thing you're going after, you don't have the capabilities yet. How do I get you the capabilities, Jess? I have to put you through some training. So I give you an obstacle that's going to train you, give you the skill set to when you get to the destination of the thing that you're going after, then you have some capabilities when you get there. Because if I show up to Jamaica right now, so say for example, I want to go to Jamaica, help all the people on there that's struggling. I'm like, man, that's a problem. But I'm like, okay, I need to get Jamaica do something. But if I show up to Jamaica right now with what I have, I can't help them. But what if my challenge of getting Jamaica requires me to connect with some people first, figure out some resources. I get those resources, I get to Jamaica, like, oh, I know people to talk to right now, help you get you some help. So same thing with the problem. Like the problem is the raw material. Once you convert or transform the problem, now you have capabilities because at the end of the day, we're looking for skill set capability to solve something. Now, if your problem is not solved, you can't solve nobody else's problem. And the universe saying that if you can transform your problem, the next person you meet that have your problem, you have a solution for them. You can help them transform theirs. So oftentimes people saying, I have problems. Great. Do something about your problems. Once you do something about it, then help somebody else do something about the same problem. But now, if you have a problem right now, what was it 10 years, 5 years ago? What was the problem you had that you transformed? You can teach people to transform those same problems if you go find those people. And now, guess what? You have a skill set or capabilities because you have transformed those problems, right? But oftentimes, we are always looking at the current problem, not realizing that what was the one they already solved? Can you introduce that solution to somebody else? And maybe on the way of doing that, you solve the one that's in front of you right now. I'm gonna stop there.
In my bio, there's a sentence that speaks to exactly what you just said. That I said, instead of letting those obstacles define me, I chose to rebuild, reimagine, and reinvent myself. I realized that my story and the strategies I used to move from setbacks to success could help others do the same. And it's on point to exactly what you said, having reference and framework based on the experience that we go through to overcome the obstacles and the challenge. And the biggest part for me in recognizing that I could be more, I could do more, there was more waiting for me to arrive, was that I worked on my faith and my mindset during those transformational months. I'm going to say there were 6 months in 2010 that really formed me to become who I am today.
Mm.
I had the skill set all within, but it wasn't, I say it was asleep. It wasn't awakened yet because it was in there. I think that's what all of us don't recognize about ourselves, that it's already within us, but we have to want to awaken it. We want to have to bring out the best parts of who we are that haven't experienced the world yet and show that version of who we are to people. And it doesn't mean that when we talk about the best version of who we are, it's not about the perfection. It's about recognizing impossible is I'm possible. It's recognizing that I'm a beautiful masterpiece made of broken pieces, that I am one lesson and one blessing away from a completely different day, week, month, life. It's recognizing that it is a process and not losing sight, because ultimately that's what faith is, right? Moving without seeing.
So I'm gonna go back to. I think we're on a great point right here. I think if you're listening, you're gonna find value here because this is a lot of struggle for most people. Is that inside of you, Jesse said it was in you, it was waking. You have the thing in you. What you was missing is how to transfer it. And we hesitate because we don't know how to transfer it because inside of us it makes sense. But when you think about transferring it, it's like, well, it doesn't make sense. And that's why it comes back to frameworks, our structure, our sequence, or a transportation system with the story. I'm telling you, the story is the best transportation system that it's been passed through time because it works. Because if you can figure out how do I story tell this idea that I have, this thing I transform in myself, how do I deliver it to Jessica or deliver it to Asher? And that's the part we struggle with. But if we sit down and study, figure out, okay, now I get it. What is the tool out there that the community have organized and learned and figured out how we communicate as a species? How do I learn that skill set or that tool set? and transfer my experience, because everybody have the individual experience reality. Your experience reality is not the same as mine. Why? Because our filter is different. So now I gotta figure out, how do I take what I filter out of my experience and deliver it to just, you heard the story about the castle, right? There was a big castle in, say, in Europe, and they wanted to move the castle all the way back to the United States. And what the stonemason or the builder did was, he break down the castle, and he numbered all of the bricks or all of the stones. So when you get back to the United States, you like, oh, to rebuild it, I gotta rebuild it. I got number one, number two, right? So you had a sequence. So now when the castle is rebuilt in America, it's built the same way. So just like my ideas in my head, to transfer it to Jess, I gotta give it a sequence. So when Jess rebuilds it in her head, it's the same castle in my head, because I've numbered the bricks. So now you gotta figure out, how do you number the bricks of your experience that you've transformed, so the next person can rebuild it in their mind the same way you're experiencing your reality. And that's the challenge.
That is the challenge, but it's also the way to create like transformational breakthrough for other people. Being able to, okay, so, and I guess these few episodes, we've really started talking about Mindset Coward. And today we're definitely talking more about it. And the next few weeks to come, we're going to have even more about it, because our mind and our mindset can be our most valuable, powerful asset. And recognizing that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have all the know-how. I knew I wanted to share my story one day. And not just my story of my stroke and the blood clots in my brain, and
Not all tragedy, but
not
sometimes
all
some.
tragedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to share it for my own sake. I wanted to share it as, almost in Spanish, there's a word called consejos, which is advice, word of advice. So it's almost like I wanted to share it as advice or reminder to people to trust themselves, to listen to themselves, to know that even when everyone, or what seems like everyone, is telling you you're wrong, but you know deep within that you are not wrong. Like, don't give in. Stand firm. Stay true to what you know. It could save your life. It could save someone else's life. It could change your life. And the fact that I didn't know how to tell my story in a way that is not just, it's funny. We'll talk about this part. How, okay, we first started writing and I put almost like bullet points. And as you were like, what? This is a good start, but you got to write. You got to write more. And I'm grateful that you recognize that you are patient, and through your experience and your leadership, you were able to help me see what it means to bring my story to life in the pages of a book. Because yes, I experienced it. It was my real life, but bringing it to life 15 years later in a book is a completely different experience. And making it not only a meaningful story, but transformational breakthrough is there if people listen to the words in their head as they're reading it with their heart, and recognizing that there's so much in those chapters of the book. There's my story about medical professionals that don't know everything, right? There's my story of moments of fear. There's my story of always trying to do the right thing for other people, smiling on days that you don't feel like smiling instead of speaking your truth. And then there's the whole awakening of, I found my purpose. So just thank you, friends, for helping me and Joshua and Vanessa bring our stories to life in the pages of this incredible book.
you got me thinking. You got me thinking here where you said bullet points, right? And this is like oftentimes what people would share. They'll just get to the point. That's why it's bullet point. Get right to the point. But then somebody's like, Jess, I got the point, but I want to know what happens while you was coming to the point. And oftentimes we want to leave those part out because those parts requires like really, really examining like the houses in on the block, right? I just pull up to my address, but you pass a few houses here. Like, tell me about what you saw when you was coming, down the block. So people, if I don't want to use this word, but what pops to my head was like, some of the thing that happens to a woman when somebody take do something without their permission, right? And it's traumatizing. But then they have that experience, but other people have that experience. But the person that have that experience feel like they're the only one that it happens to. Like, why me? This never happened to nobody else. I feel like I'm the only one. But then you hear somebody that says, wait a minute, it happens to me too. Even your mother probably tell you, like, it happens to me, but you never knew that. And like, wait a minute, you've been carrying this thing the whole time, but you figured out, or like, so different things happen to us, and people want to know, what did you do when it happened to you? Because it happened to me, and I know what to do. But then you tell me, Jess, you're like, wait a minute, I had a stroke, and I thought I almost died. But now I'm telling you the story because somebody might be going through it, or might just going through it, finished, but they don't know what to do next, and they feel like, my life might end tomorrow," and they're scared, they're afraid. But then you say, this is what I was thinking when I was in that same spot, because the thinking is what get people through. Because we talk about belief, like what you believe when you're in that moment change the way you proceed forward. And we need to know, what did you believe that got you through that moment? And that's what people want to hear, not just the bullet points. They're great. But I want to know what you was thinking, Jess. What you was thinking, because I'm thinking some things. I'm not sure if the right things to think. And I think that's the beautiful part.
As you're speaking, I wrote vulnerability, insight, and truth. I believe those are the three things that people are looking for in figuring out how to turn the problem into possibility. The vulnerability part of, you're not alone. I've been there. I've done that. I've experienced that, right? The insight to be able to share what you learned, what you did, how did you navigate that process to be able to go from the problem to the possibility, and ultimately to speak truth, to say it wasn't hard. I mean, it was hard to say that it was probably one of the hardest things, or to share recognition of, there were days I didn't know how I was going to make it to the next. And leaning into the truth is what allows people to recognize and feel they're not alone. Because it's those hidden truths that we all struggle with that make us feel like we're on an island on our own, and not recognizing that so many other people have, perhaps not the same, but a similar experience, a similar obstacle, a similar problem, a similar truth. But because people aren't sharing it with the vulnerability, the insight, and the honesty, you feel like you're alone.
I'm gonna add some more here too. I'm gonna call it hindsight, insight, and foresight. We're gonna tap on the sights. So the hindsight is like when you're looking back at the thing that happens to you and get even more inspiration from it. The insight is where you're looking tight yourself. You figure out what happened in that moment for you. I'm getting insight, and then the foresight is looking ahead. From what you've experienced. And oftentimes people need that, right? They need those. They need all those sights to see what's in plain sight in front of them. And I think I forgot who I was talking to, maybe with Dr. Renisha, who was talking about the 1/3 rule, because she was building a community. I'm like, we gotta build a community on the 1/3 rule. And the 1/3 rule says, the folks that are ahead of you, folks that are with you, and the folks that are behind you. So 1/3 is behind you, that you get to educate and teach and train. The 1/3 that's with you, that you get to hang out with, those are your peers. And the 1/3 that's ahead of you, those are the elders, or the folks that you get inspiration from. And if you can start see life the same way, that you're telling your story because there's 1/3 out there that are looking for it, that need it, and you got to teach them. And the 1/3 with you that I need that stuff, and you might be the 1/3 ahead of somebody else too. You know what I'm saying? So then we tie that back into hindsight, insight, and foresight, all the sides, so to speak. We all need that because everybody's story matters. It just no matter of who it matters to. And if you can pick those people, the right people, they're like, yeah, Jess, I've been in the hospital and I was scared of hell. I was scared out of my mind. But by hearing your story, I'm not so scared anymore. And I think we just gotta eliminate fear, and that's the purpose of the book, is to eliminate fear or reduce the fear.
I mean, hindsight is 2020, right?
Mm.
If you knew then what you know now, would you make different choices? Would you do things different? Being able to see what went wrong when, what role you played or what role somebody else played. Whew. If you had a time capsule and could go back and change it all, what would you do different? Then that becomes the question of, okay, so now I know better and I could do better because I took that 2020 hindsight that I didn't have then to find the insight now, to be able to have the foresight, to be able to be better, do better, help others, be of service, live a life of purpose. So many people get stuck on the hindsight part. Not the lesson, not the blessing, but the problem part of it. It's like you need to become the investigator of your own life, of your own story, your own problem, your own obstacle, and figure out, okay, how do I solve this? How do I solve this? Is it within my control?
That's what we gotta get motivated to do. How do I solve this? Not trying to run away from it, but how do you solve it? That is what we need to focus, Jess. How do we solve it? Because I enjoy the possibility of solving a problem. Like we talked about in the last podcast I was listening to last night. And I remember I said it. I said that. But I was like, I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be hard. And the reason why I want it to be hard, because I realized that like by volunteering to do hard things, I'm volunteering to be transformed because it's going to transform me. Wanting easy things, I'm not wanting to transform. I want to stay the same. And I was like, Asha wants to grow. So give me something hard, but give me capabilities, and I'm going through it because that's what I need. And we got to volunteer to do the hard stuff, but just don't do it alone. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing, Asher. But that whole thing requires vulnerability, insight, and truth, recognizing I cannot figure it out alone. I cannot get past this alone. I cannot move past this difficult moment, this challenge, this obstacle alone. I need community. I need God. I need faith. I need understanding. I need different points of view. And it doesn't mean that what I'm feeling doesn't matter. What it means is sometimes we get so caught up in our own feelings, we don't see what's right in front of us. It's as if the mask that we're wearing at the moment of the challenge, the obstacle, the problem has not only altered our perception to the world, but it's also altered our perception of the world.
I was gonna say the mask is a mindset, and you know, in that situation, you gotta put on the learner's mindset. Like I gotta learn this. You know, you remember back in the day before we got all the maps and stuff. You going somewhere and you're like, man, I don't know where I'm going. I gotta ask direction. You stop off at the 7-Eleven, like, hey man, how do I get to this place? How do I get to this place? Right. But it's all about the process of asking for directions. And oftentimes when we are stuck, we don't feel like asking for direction because you don't know where you're going, bro. Like you don't want to feel stupid, like, yeah, I'm lost, man. Like we are afraid to say I'm lost. And one of my superpowers is I don't mind saying that, bro, I'm lost. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, can you show me where to go? Because I'm trying to get to here. And most people are afraid to do that because then they feel like people are gonna judge them. And because they have so much low value of themselves, when somebody judge them, they automatically shrinks. And I'm like, no, man, there's so much power in asking for direction. I mean, it's the same as it's asking for help, but it's asking for direction. Asking for direction is asking for help. Most people don't want to ask for help. So I'm saying get good at asking for directions. either from God or from somebody. But ask. I have
Okay.
a big axe, Jess. Can you do this for me? Asher, I'm booked right now. I can't help you. I feel so.
I
Jess is
never say
rejecting
that
me.
to you, just so we're clear, so the audience knows. I never say no to Asher. Never. Okay, just so we know.
But the point is, people are afraid to be vulnerable and sharing that. Bro, I'm confused as hell right now. Actually, my life is a mess right now, bro. Right? It's not been a mess all my life, just mess this week because there's so much. Like Amazon deliver all the packages and my house is a mess. Just say that and like I need help. I need help.
To me, being able to ask for help is the ultimate act of bravery and courage, recognizing that it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to ask for help until you get it. Like, don't, and that was like part of my story. I kept asking for help. No
But
one
but no,
listened, but I kept asking. I didn't give up.
but also knowing you're gonna ask for help from the wrong people as well.
Yes.
That's
But
part of the
sometimes
process.
you ask for help from the right people, like I was, and you
Yes.
still get the wrong answer. So it wasn't until I found someone who I trusted, who knew me, who understood me, that I was actually able to get real help. That
And
is
now
key.
and now you get to tell a story about all the wrong people you asked for help with, because that's the good part of the story. That's the juicy part. Man, I asked this guy, tell me no. I asked that guy, tell me no. Right? Like people want to hear that part of the story because that's the adventure. Like, man, I opened that door, I looked in the house, wrong house. Right? I go there, wrong place. I made a left turn, wrong turn. People want to know that stuff, and that's the beautiful part of the story. You get to share that. But then you're like, no, I don't want to share that. I just want to share when I got it right. No, man, talk about how many times you got it wrong. That's the fun part of the story.
That's the thing people want to know. That's like the juicy parts.
Just how many times you got your ass beat for your parents growing up? Man, I want
Uh,
to hear about that story. I want to
yes.
hear how bad of a kid you was, right? People want to hear those stuff. Not always a goody two shoe. Like that's boring. Tell me how much time you screwed up and your mom had to whoop your ass. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. That'll be a whole another book. That'll be a whole other book. But I'm just so grateful that I've been able to walk down this path with you as my book coach, my writing coach, my friend, my mentor in writing books and becoming an author and what that's like. I will say the way I needed to find somebody that I trusted, that knew me, and that I had confidence in to save my life, I needed that same thing in the person that was going to help me create the impact with the story of my life. And I found that through you. Being able to recognize that you have enough respect and honesty to help guide me in the right direction and to be able to do it with straightforward, no, Jess, you need to change that, or no, leave that, don't change that. I don't care what you think, don't change that. So many people, especially for me, because I am a very
I drive the car.
yeah, I drive the car kind of woman. I'm the one who I know what I want, and a lot of people are intimidated by that. But I really focus in on surrounding myself with people that cheer me and check me, because the check part is how I get better. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I have people like that in my life, people like you that say, I don't care if she drives the car, I'm gonna push her into the passenger seat and show her the real way to get there. I'm so grateful and I respect that, because it's trust that allows us to be able to have those kinds of discussions, conversations, moments of clarity. And each project has gotten better and better.
Mm.
I'm so excited. I don't know what's next, but I know something more. because this girl got a lot more to share with the world, but it's been a pleasure, and I just want to, in this week that we're about to enter of gratitude, express that to you.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you. The wise man says trust pays interest.
Mm.
And I think your trust in yourself is paying off interest, and your trust in me is paying off interest. And one of the biggest compliment I also got to, along with your big great compliments here, is patience. I I've been developing this like under the tone, but not really deliberately. But I see it showing up. And the reason, when I was in the military, I used to have a lot of problem troopers. And they used to tell me, they used to like, Asher, man, you got so much patience with these guys. Cause I would have just, like tightened that ass up. But
Mm-hmm.
but I remember Asher a long time ago when I was struggling with authority, when I was struggling with language, when I was struggling just to really communicate and understand my surrounding. And I used to be debatable, meaning that very debateful. I used to, very pushy. But then I realized the people that was very patient with me and just wait for me to understand the thing or wait, take the time to share it. And I'm like, and those people imprinted on me. So later on in my career, as in the military, I had a lot of patience because I remember when I always screw up so much and people used to like, give me a pass and take the time with me. And in the end, it helped me become a better person. And later on in my career in the military, I was like, I'm protecting those that need somebody to have more patience with because I could see myself in them because that was actually not too long ago. And I say that to say, even in the process of writing, I remember when I just started off, how much I struggled, but I was so committed to learning about this thing that I'm like, okay, this is a very big disability. Because I remember my dad, he's not a reader. My dad didn't go to school like that. So his void becomes my virtue, becomes my value. And the thing I value is like really like I want to learn language. I want to learn to write and read and stuff like that, whatever. I want to learn to tell stories because he's pretty good at telling stories without be going to school. He's just really good at just sharing stuff. But I want to do that for other people. And the man in Shaft says, I got patience longer than train smoke. And I developed that over time. So I'm glad to part that off on you and the other folks while we do this work.
Yes, patience to me has a lot to do with understanding and empathy.
Mm.
Understanding and empathy. And you said that you used to struggle with authority. I'm going to let you in on this one in case, while you may have come a long way, you still struggle with authority in case no one, you still do, but you've come a long way. You really have. The way I don't have to drive the car everywhere. Sometimes I
Mm.
like to be in the passenger's seat, not in the back seat, but in the passenger seat. That's a difference. And when we reframe reframe it, because you need to be a certain amount of pushy
Very assertive. That's right.
to get to the places you want to be, to get into the rooms where you did not receive the invitation, but you know you belong, that there's a seat in there waiting for you, to get to the places that felt almost like they were so out of reach and impossible to arrive at. You need to have a certain level of pushy. But because you were able to grow into this patient, empathetic, understanding version of who you are today,
I like that guy, by the way.
the pushy changed, right? The pushy isn't so much always about your agenda, my agenda. The pushy then evolved to other people, to community, to service, ultimately to love, because that's what, you know, God
Mm.
calls us to do. And that's what community is about. Having, embracing difference and recognizing value and encouraging diversity. That's should be the essence of how do I build a big, beautiful community of people that just enhance my life. And yeah, God knew what he was doing when he put us together.
Totally, totally. We have grown a lot this year, by the way, haven't we?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, we have grown a lot this year. Even what's it? I'm gonna say her name in public, but we was talking about just the person that showed up at the end of the year. Where we started like early this year, and I'm like, man, I put a lot of work into Asha this year, and even listened to Myron Golden this morning. He was talking about goal setting is like something he doesn't do, whatever, which is I kind of understand with him because most people set goals and never achieve them, and then they beat up on themselves the rest of their life for it. But I was like, man, I just been taking action all year, and at the end of the year, I'm just gonna add them up, and then I could figure out what's the goal I achieved this year. I didn't attempt to score these goals; I just scored these goals, and these are the goals. I'm grateful for scoring these goals. And then when springtime comes around next year, I'm back on there again, burning new things again, right? So I'm looking forward to like closing out the 11th and 12 months of this year and just really be grateful for getting this far, like, 12 steps into the year. Whoa.
I
Look at
think
this.
next week we need to have a whole conversation about that Myron Golden not writing goals and
Mm-hmm.
just tapping into what you said because I have a whole lot to say about that. And when we that'll be a conversation for next week as we wrap up today. But we are entering Thanksgiving week. And for so many people, this time of year is so challenging, especially in the state of the world today.
Mm-hmm.
And I am filled with gratitude and pray for those who are hungry, homeless, don't have family, and recognize that everyone's life is completely different based on one choice, one decision. And so, whether one choice, one decision, one act got you to where you are and you're struggling, have faith in knowing that one decision, one act, one choice can completely turn it around. And so, my prayer for everyone who is struggling with whatever they're struggling with right now is that the reminder that you are more than enough, that you were created in God's perfect image, and being perfectly imperfect is the thing that makes you beautiful and uniquely you. That you have one choice, one decision, one action, 1 second, 1 minute away from a completely different life. But you have to believe it and you have to choose you. You have to recognize that you are worth it and unapologetically do the thing that you feel God has called you to do. But this week, I am so grateful for my community, my family, my friends. My boy, my sunshine, is coming home to spend the holiday with me, and that always takes me to my happy place. But I'm grateful for my Idea Tennis family, and I'm excited to what this new year is going to bring us.
When you was talking, I thought about this season, how it used to play out for me years and after years and after years. Because it could be a cold and lonely season, depends on where you are.
Yeah.
And it becomes cold and lonely because there's a big comparison that's happened around it because you're in a place and maybe people start getting close to their family. You're like, where's my family?
Mhm.
I'm just by myself. I'm lonely. I don't have anybody to hang out with. And the comparison makes it even more tougher. But the whole year you was chilling, it was good. Like it was all right, just hanging with you. But then when people start doing family thing and you don't have the same community do the same thing with, then you feel some kind of way. So I know this happened because I was in the same boat. I remember when I was in the military, because I was most of the time I was single. But then when the holiday comes around, people always find their home base to go to. And if you don't have a home base to go to, you might feel some kind of way. So I'm saying if you feel that kind of way, there's always people that are just like you that might be lonely, that might be want to organize in a place where all the single folks going out and just chill and have a good time. So there's ways to really you talk about finding possibilities in the opportunity or from the problems. So your problem is loneliness. Your problem is being single. Your problem is being you, just you by yourself. But there's other people like you that would love to come together. So can you find a place where those people are, or can you create that space? Like, you know what? I'm single. I know somebody said, hey, let's hang out. Let's do something together. Just us. We're gonna talk about how nice it is to be single on a holiday of family. However you want to put it. But that's what pops in my head, Jess. And I would just want to shout out to those folks that might be going through that. Just know that there's people like you just gotta find them. And even Myron was saying this, and it was like God says everything was good and was talking about when he was talking about creation, except for one thing. It's not good for man to be alone. So I know how that feels. So we gotta put the work in, have the courage, and be vulnerable to go find people to be with, to be around. Because it's the risk. And if it wasn't a risk, it wouldn't be worth it anyway. Over to you.
We've always had extra new family members for Christmas and for Thanksgiving every year because someone's always brought a friend who didn't have some place to go or a colleague that wasn't from New York. And so we've always opened our home and our family to people that were alone. So yeah, definitely a blessing. But I'm excited for the next few weeks of our podcast. Next week, we're going to be talking about that Myron Golden video and his theory on goals.
All right, folks, with that, before you make it an effort, subscribe and share. If this thing means anything to you, if you got any value from it. If not, keep it a secret. Just keep it to you. Don't let nobody know about it. And with that, make it an utterly fantastic day.